All right, everybody, it is time for my favorite part of every single video that we do. It is time to make the list. As I always encourage, please feel free to comment along your list in the comment section below, or send us an email at eatsleeplistpod@gmail.com. I would love to hear your list of some of the greatest gifts that you have ever received, and especially if there was a special meaning behind it. All right, would love to hear it. I'm excited to share my own list for you, whoever's watching, and I hope that it spins some ideas. All right, with these, it seems like it's just me talking a lot of these videos. I don't want people to perceive it like that. I want to hear. I want to connect with you, your lists. All right, I want to connect with you through whatever these themes are, and hear and see what yours are. All right, I really do think in this muddled, wacky world where we're all losing our minds one way or another, to organize our thoughts, and making lists is the best way to do so. All right, let's get to it. My top 10 favorite Christmas gifts that I have ever received. I should preheat. I don't even know what the correct phrasing would be, but preempt this by saying that this is another list that I could have easily done a top 20 or 25. I have been so fortunate and so just spoiled over the years. So if you're watching this, and I know you on a personal level, and if something you've given me over the years didn't make the top 10, don't take it personally. Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. All right, I've received some very, very wonderful, thoughtful gifts from great people in my life. But anyways, here are my top 10. My number 10 is books, the gift of reading. When I was growing up, one thing I could expect, well, actually several things that I could expect year in and year out, were books. All right. There was Star Wars, a lot of Star Wars books received. History books, a lot of those received. Pro wrestling biographies and autobiographies, which were really, really neat. But there's two sets of books that really stand out. And they made me feel like I was part of something bigger. I'll start off with the Harry Potter book collection. This it was a 4-book set. All right, it's beautiful. It had the nice book covers, and it was just Sorcerer's Stone through Goblet of Fire, and I loved that book set. I had no access to that previously. Prior to it, it was a big phenomenon going on, and my teacher was reading it in class. That's how massive this thing got. And it was one of the very few bandwagony pop culture things that I just felt for. All right. Pokemon, Harry Potter, maybe something else along the way. Maybe a couple other things. But Harry Potter was a big one. And just thinking about where I was at, and this is the late 90s, early 2000s, but to receive this books and they were beautiful. They were the hardcovers, and I got 4 awesome metal bookmarks with it. There was the Sorting Hat, there was the Golden Snitch, or maybe it was 2. It might have been a couple. It was either 2 or 3, or it might have been 1 per book. But I got a couple of these things. And it was really, really cool. And I just, when I see those books, I don't have the removable covers anymore. But when I see them, I get such a Christmas vibe to them. I still have some of the books, but I just get such a nice Christmas feeling to it because they really were special and amazing books. And if you didn't grow up in that time period with that phenomenon going on, you're missing out. I will say the other set that I got that I really liked was the Lord of the Rings. This is after the Fellowship of the Ring came out, but I hadn't seen the movies yet. One of the cool things that my family always did for this time of year, for Christmas time, was a couple days after Christmas, we would get uncles, aunts, cousins, everybody, let's go take up a row at the Regal movie theater and go see the Lord of the Rings movies. We did that for Two Towers and Return of the King, but for my cousin Nico's birthday that year, in 2001, it would have been him turning 9 or 10. It would have been 9. That's wild that we went to go see that movie when he was 9 and I was 10 years old. Good God. Anyways, we went to go see The Fellowship of the Ring in like middle of January. But I felt caught up after having access to those books. I felt like I was a part of something, and I do love and cherish those. That's my number 10. Number 9. This one was from my sister and my brother-in-law, technically speaking. But, man, a couple years ago when podcasting was legitimately my life, all right, doing my football show, that was my pride and joy, the 2-point conversation, talking football 5 days a week, every single week. It was everything to me. I was obsessed. I wanted to know every little news thing and all of that, but it became a part of my identity. And that year, I actually should include this. My cousin Teresa got me something amazing as well, but it was a painted-on floor mat. So it was a floor mat, welcome, floor mat, and it had my 2-point conversation logo painted onto it. She knew somebody who did it, and I was like, oh my God, this thing's amazing. I legitimately didn't want to use it as a floor mat. That's how cool it was. Was really excited for that. Then she got me a nice banner that I hung up in my previous studio. Huge, massive. And because that show was basically the reason why I wanted to have a studio. So there's a central location with me and all my co-hosts. But also that year for Secret Santa, my cousin Teresa, she got a wooden, engraved sign that said the 2-point conversation on it. No idea where she got it from, but she did. And I have long believed internally that nobody gives a shit about my hobbies. I really have. I long believe that. I mean, my parents have always been they watch every single video, which I'm super grateful for. But I've always had hobbies, and people would always tell me to quit them. So, or they never talk about them at all. So I generally feel sick that wow, these are some of the closest people in my life, and they don't care. And then you receive something like that from a cousin who, not a football fan by any means. I've never talked about podcasting with her specifically, and she gifted me that. And it was an amazing, I had to put them both together because it was a great combination gifts, and I felt listened to, heard, and appreciated. I felt like people, even if they don't listen, they know. They know how much doing that show meant to me at that time, and I got it as a great gift. So that's it. That's my number 9. My number 8, my brother has a really good knack for finding cool, thoughtful gifts for me. Really good job. And we bond over football as well. We have bonded tremendously over football, especially over one certain player. All right, that was fortunate to play on both of our favorite teams. His team way longer than mine, but Phillip Rivers. All right, Phillip Rivers. He always finds a way to give me stuff that I can never, ever ask for. He just knows. All right, he is so good at gift giving. And I don't know if I hope he realizes that. But a couple of years ago, I received a Phillip Rivers Fathead that he's currently holding on to because I have no room for it. But this thing is sick. It's just a picture of his face. It's gigantic. It's probably 2 or 3 feet tall in length. But yeah, that, and then there was a candle. It was a Philip Rivers uh, candle. It was like his head on like some kind of holy person, and I never lit it once. All right, never lit it once, but this thing, I love that thing so much. It was so cool that we've gotten to bond over a certain player, and I couldn't have asked for. I legitimately never thought I'd ever receive a fat head or a candle. Never even crossed my mind a Philip Rivers specific candle. But yeah, that is my number 8, the gift of Philip Rivers. Number 7, I had been wanting one for years. This is a gift from my parents. A kayak. I received a kayak. It was probably 4 years ago that I received it. I didn't get a chance to use it much that first year. Just wanted to take it out and go, because I love being on the water. I've talked about loving to be on the water. I love just going out and seeing stuff. And being out on the water is a whole new perspective as to like hiking and whatnot. There's a lot of great little kayak, I don't know if you call them trails, launch points, whatever. There's a lot of great ones in the Western New York area. So I got one. I didn't have too many people to go out with that first year, but I did try it out. And then the next year, my dad got one. So we went out together. And that year, we went out about a handful of times. And I got to bring my dog out, Princey. We got him a little life jacket so he can come hang out with us. And it was great. It was such a good workout. And just being out there, hanging out with my Uncle Rich would come and join us sometimes, or go with some of my dad's work friends. But just being out there on the water in the middle of summer, rocking a tank and shorts, and just being comfy. Some really, really great adventures. I hope to get back to that soon. All right, I do. Hopefully, eventually my kid can come along. I think that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, the kayak, that's my number 7. Was a fantastic gift, and I am very, very grateful. I should say, from here on out, everything is basically from my parents, who know me very, very well. I will just get that out of the way immediately. My number 6 is a digital hand recording camera. I wanted this for pro wrestling's sake. I wanted it to watch myself, post videos of myself wrestling to maybe hopefully get my name out there, and also to study, to see what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right, what I can correct and adjust and map out stuff, going forward. And it was great. A little hand. I don't even think it was called a handy cam. It was like this little red camera. It's like about the size of a cell phone, thicker. And I had it. And it was really cool because I at the time, I'm not gonna lie, like I was one of the few people who was actually filming like all of their stuff. All right. And I'm glad. I'm like so glad that I asked for that camera. It was like 2012. I think it was like Christmas 2011, but I started using it in 2012 wrestling, which is when I started to get really, really busy. But because of that gift, I now have a 2-year chunk of my life that I can look back on, like actually visually look back upon, because I'm not going back and watching or paying for some of these DVDs if I can find it that I've been on, these little shitty indie wrestling DVDs. I'm not doing that. And a lot of these places didn't even record it. Right? So now I have access to a 2-year stretch of my life that meant the world to me at one point, and if I did not have it, I would have no video proof that I ever did wrestling. Pro wrestling, so to speak. So digital hand camera, very, very grateful for that gift. Yeah, very, very important one. My number 5 is actually my digital camera, so my picture-taking camera, the first one that I ever got with that. My mom has always been obsessive with pictures. All right, we pick on her about it sometimes, but my love and appreciation of a good photograph comes from my mom. And I was at the point where I just finished up really doing pro wrestling. And I was like going to all these amazing places. I was seeing all this really, really cool stuff. And I was like, I have no way of photographing this. Right? Some of these beautiful places out in like Connecticut and Massachusetts that I went to, places in Pennsylvania, Ohio, just seeing really cool things. And like I had like an iPod or iPhone camera, and it doesn't really like, now the cameras are much better, but they don't really capture the essence of it all. So I asked for a camera. I got a Canon PowerShot camera, and I still hold on to it to this day, even though I've upgraded it. I've upgraded from that. But that was my first taste of good photography, taking good pictures, and I learned so much with that camera. And I'm glad. I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I went through that process and got it, because going through it, I knew how much I loved it. I knew how much I loved photography. Going out and taking pictures by myself, some of the most peaceful, wonderful life experiences that, even though not a whole lot went on in those processes, I was at peace, and they stand out to me. Going to see some of the great waterfalls in this area, or some great architecture downtown, or across the border in Canada. All right, seeing cool lights and all that jazz. This was the gateway into a great hobby that I love, and that I still bust out every now and then. I still have my stuff. And if I'm feeling it, if I'm feeling an adventure, I'm going to bring the camera. Especially now with my kid getting older and being able to do more stuff, there's going to be a lot more photography opportunities in the near future. So, number 5, my digital camera. Number 4, my PlayStation Portable, the PSP. This is the one and only like game console that I ever received for Christmas. Because I know, let's see, we bought a couple PS2s, PlayStation 2s, throughout my dad. I know we got one on like Father's Day or his birthday, and we might have rebought one for Christmas for him at some point, because we broke them a lot. But fortunately, it was a pretty affordable console. So I didn't get, like, consoles weren't like really my thing. I was just get games for whatever console we had, which was usually PlayStation, but I never received a specific console. So when I got the PlayStation Portable, which was this new, cool, high-tech media device that did everything, played video games at a very, very high quality, played movies, played music, download videos, access the internet, stuff like that, I was in heaven. There was a kid on my wrestling team. His name was Frank. He had a PlayStation Portable, and he would pass it around. And I remember playing Grand Theft Auto, Liberty City Stories, and I could not believe how superb the graphics were. Especially because I had a Game Boy Color, and PSP was a big upgrade from that. And then I had that thing for years. I bought a couple other, ones as that one aged out, but the PSP is probably one of my favorite handheld consoles of all time, and I would love to get my hands on another one. I would, even though a lot of the online stuff is kind of discontinued at this point, but the PSP, that was the best travel partner I've ever had. More than a music player, MP3 player, more than, well, you can't really read. while sitting in a car. It's not very good for you, but that thing kept the time moving for many, many years. So shout out to the PSP. My number 3. I'm going to go with my wrestling shoes, my finalist wrestling shoes my senior year. All right. My senior year of wrestling, I basically feel like like a professional sports team sells out to try and win the big one, to win it all. They give up draft capital and they sign everybody to big contracts and hope that something pans out in it. So I knew that this was my last year of high school wrestling. I was having a pretty good year. I was on track to make states, win sectional. I was on track for it. Didn't mean I was guaranteed, but our team started doing something really cool my senior year, which was wearing final singlets. All right, if you make it to a finals match, championship, you get a cool white, blue, and yellow singlet that says NFHS on it, Niagara Falls High School on it, instead of the blue and yellow ones, the basic blue and yellow that we just kind of always wore. This one's a fun one because my parents had my friend Billy give me a call, and it was the most random call. I still remember it. He goes, "Hey, Matt, what size wrestling shoes do you wear?" And I just go, 13. And he goes, "Okay, thanks, bye," and hung up the phone. And I was so confused, and I had no idea what he was doing, but he set it up so my parents could hear me say what my wrestling shoe size was. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful pair of Asics shoes. They were silver and blue, and they matched my final singlets really, really good. Great, comfortable shoe. And, yeah, those things were great. I wore the crap out of those. Basically blew the sole out. That's how much I utilized them down the road. I used them as wrestling, like pro wrestling shoes eventually. And yeah, they got a lot of mileage out of those. But, yeah, they carried me all the way to the state championship meet, and I was pretty proud of that. So that's my number 3. My number 2 is football tickets. Colts, Patriots, 2021. This was the first year where I was like, I don't want anything materialistic. I just want, help me out, give me some money towards these football tickets. And my parents did. And the game was like a week before Christmas. And there was a lot of reasons why I was excited for this one. My buddy from Rochester, Brandon, used to do pro wrestling with him, but we connected over the Indianapolis Colts, so much so that we were doing a Colts podcast called Colts Fans in Bills Land. And at this point, I had been to Indianapolis twice, 2018 and 2019, and he had never been. And I was like, dude, we got to go together. We have to go do this together at least once. And everything lined up perfectly. Everything lined up perfectly. The Colts were having a really good year at that point in time. And we're like, let's do Colts-Patriots. All right, that's a big-time rivalry game, typically. And when I asked for the tickets, the money for the tickets specifically, the Patriots weren't really, they were competitive, but they weren't good. It was Mac Jones' rookie season. So we get it, and all of a sudden the records are pretty similar. And it's got huge playoff implications, and they move it to a Saturday night. So it was actually the day we got into, was it the day? No, we got there on a Friday, and it was a Saturday night game, which was awesome to be a part of. The atmosphere was insane, and we sat front row. My first time sitting front row at anything, but an NFL game nonetheless. And we got to see some amazing stuff. Got to be on TV. I'll see if I can pull up a picture of it. But we were on TV. I was on TV at the very least, which was awesome. But it was, and we've seen Jonathan Taylor bust out a game-winning touchdown run. It was so cool. It was so cool. I was so spoiled and loved that. My bar now, if I'm going to an NFL game, it's got to be front row. and it's very pricey now. But those tickets meant a lot to me because it was a moment. It was an experience instead of a material possession. So that's my number 2. And my number 1, all right, video games have, we just talked about the PSP, and there's been plenty of other video games that I've received over the years that have meant a lot to me. But there's this cheery picture that I'm going to put up over here, right, this side, of me in 1996, and it is me opening up Crash Bandicoot for the PlayStation 1. I wanted this game so bad as a kid. Wanted it more than anything. All my aunts and uncles were talking about, my aunts and uncles who played video games were talking about it. They're like, oh, we really want it. I go, I wanted to. I asked for Christmas. And then I opened it up on Christmas Day. Got the nice jewel disc cover, the holder. And I was elated. I couldn't wait. I ran downstairs to play it, and I was like, oh, we got to go to church yet. But every year when there was a new Crash game that had come out, I would get it, fortunately. Crash 1, Crash 2, Crash 3, Warped was special because I got a little stuffed animal, Crash Bandicoot, that I wish I still had. Little plush Crash Bandicoot that was in my stocking that year. Crash Team Racing, Crash Bash, Crash Wrath of Cortex. I got them all. I eventually grew out of Crash Bandicoot because the games kind of really fell off after that Wrath of Cortex one. And I kind of fell away from it. But Crash Bandicoot and Christmas just goes hand in hand. I actually re-downloaded a lot of my Crash games recently just because we're getting to that time of year. That game franchise has meant so much to me. In fact, 2017, it was 2017, the day after Christmas, I pooled all of my Christmas money together and went and bought a used PlayStation 4 just to have the Insane Trilogy, which is basically a remaster of the first 3 games. But Crash Bandicoot, Christmas, hand in hand for me. And some of my favorite memories is opening up those games, anything associated with it for Christmas. But there it is, everybody. That is it for this video. The top 10 Christmas gifts received. The Christmas gifts received list. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you all get some good stuff. I hope you tell me about some good stuff that you have gotten over the years. All right, stuff that really means a lot to you. I would certainly appreciate hearing it. Feel free to share it. But that is it. Thank you so much. We will see you on Friday. Till next time, do you even list?